Hello makers, art creators. This is the Random Engineer. Today we're going to continue with our tutorial series in assembly mates. So to get started, we're going to create a new part. We're going to use some other features, assembly mates such as the slot, maybe the path and the hinge. So what I'm going to do is just create sort of like a chain, and yeah, right. So we have the slot over here, so we might as well just use it. We're gonna say this is a 10 mil radius, and I thought I said 100 here. And then I'm just gonna right click and select chain, offset this by 5 mil, and we've got that. So that's gonna be our first part. That's gonna be probably 10, 15 mil. Let's just gonna save it as a name. Also, I'm gonna create another part. Yeah, I'm gonna create another part, which will be pretty similar. So that's 100. So I'm gonna create this. I'm gonna say 100 here. And I'm gonna click here to see what's the radius, and that's 15. So I'm just gonna put that in there and make a 15 mil hole over there. So I'm just gonna say that's 15 mil too. And using the same sketch, I'm gonna extrude it, but in this time I'm just going to select the contour and say that's 20. So we've got that part saved too. So now I'm gonna create an assembly with those parts, and just gonna click on this one and drag the other one. All right. So for this case, since this part is fixed now, I'm just gonna say mate, mechanical mates slot, and I'm gonna click on the slot here and on this face, and that's gonna do the slot mate. As you see, this part is gonna move along that slot. I'm just gonna define it a little bit better so I can show you what I mean. All right. So as you see, this chain goes freely in that slot. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit smaller. So it looks better. All right. So now we've got that. So that's what the slot mate does. So I'm just gonna edit this mate, and you can see here that you can constrain it. Free means that it can go freely each way. If you go center in the slot and you do this, it's gonna allow you to rotate along that slot, but it's just always gonna be in the center. Also, if you say distance from the center, from one side, you can define it as to a set position. So I'll just say 10 mil here, and now it's never going to move. It's always going to be 10. And here you have a percentage along the slot. You can say 9% or 50%, depending on how long it is. You can always flip the dimension so it's on the other way. sorry, on the other side of the slot, but I'm just gonna make it run freely along that slot for now. So now that we've got that, I'm just gonna hold Control and drag this part and turn it around, make this face and this face coincident, and I'm gonna create the slot again, slot mate. So I click on the slot, click on the face, and now we've got this. So you can sort of see what I'm trying to do now. Okay, so for now I'm just gonna float this part, and I'm gonna create a sketch and say, just gonna say maybe all right, I'm gonna create it like this. Just gonna make this shape. And now I have two options. I can close it with another line, but that's gonna be two different segments, or I can extend entities, which is below trim entities, and that's gonna extend it up to the next point. So I'm just gonna drag on point and say midpoint, make these two equal, right click here and say midpoint, and select that and say vertical, so they are always the same. And to finish, I'm just gonna click on these points to make a radius. This radius is pretty small, so I'm just gonna make it bigger so you can actually see it. Right. So just gonna give some numbers here, and maybe something like that. So I'm gonna see if I can make it a path. There you go, make path. You select the chain, and there you go. That now you've got a path. So now that this is there, I'm also going to create a point here, which is going to be in the center of that circle, and save it, go to my other window and show the sketches here. So you can see now I point and the path. So now I'm going to create a new mate, which is going to be a path mate. So the component will be the point and the path will be the line, but you can go selection manager and say closed loop, click OK, and go yes. And now I will drag this along, and this will always be in the same path. Now as you see, it's just the point that's following the line. So just to define it a little bit better, we're going to say that this part is, yeah, maybe there, yeah, it's coincident there. So you can see a little bit better what's going on here. So that's what the path mate does. It makes a point or a reference go along a path. So the options for this one are freely. The path constraint can be free, You can go a distance along the path, and as you see, as I move this will update. Let's say 100. Let's say 500 to see what it does. And that's what it's doing. It's constraining the path. Same with the percentage. 50, 60, 70. There you go. So if you go pitch yaw control, that means the movement itself. So you can see you can constrain the x vector, the y vector, or the z vector. So that it follows it however you want it to. And the roll control is pretty much the same. You select a vector, which is usually a line, but we don't have a line here, so that's why it's not doing it. Or you can select a line. And that's basically what it does for the options of the path mate. So you can use these mates to create some conveyor belts, or maybe some roller coasters and stuff like that. Whatever you feel it's good for your design. So I'm going to show you now the hinge. So for that, we have to create a new part. So I'm just going to save this as whatever. Close it and create new parts. Well, in real, I'm just going to create one part for now. So for this one, I'm going to create a, let's say, a pin, 10 mil pin. Just going to make some shapes here. And go back here, and we should be good. So just gonna drag this along, make this 2 mil out, make this 5 mil thick, and maybe just 13 out. So I'm just gonna say from the middle, from the mid plane, and say 50. So I'm gonna save it as part 3, create a new assembly, bring it over to the assembly in the same origin, and click Control and drag it. So I might just make it a little bit bigger so that it looks more like a hinge. And as you see, if I change one part, the other one updates automatically as well. So usually a hinge works like this. So in this case, I'm gonna go mechanical mates, hinge, and it's gonna ask for the concentric selections, and then it's gonna ask for the coincident faces. There you go. And now, since this part is fixed, this one is the one that's going to move. And that's what the hinge does. So if you want to completely define it, you just have to create a angle mate, which is usually an advanced angle mate. You go from 0 to 180. Or whatever your degrees of freedom is. and that will completely define your hinge. So just to make it look a little bit better for the rendering, I'm going to create some fillets on the sides. Oops, too big. And make some holes here. I'm going to click on those holes and make them equal. Maybe these two in the same space. Just drag a line. Do the same here. Make these two equal. Make them for construction. Just put it there. Make these two horizontal so they are along the same space. And just define this as 10, maybe let's say 11. Drag these two out there. Say 10. And maybe from there to there, about 10 as well. So I'm gonna make a cut through all and cut that. So maybe these are too big. So you can double click on the part on the feature, sorry, and then just change this. Let's say 7 there. And drag it a little bit closer, farther. There you go, save. And all since these two were the same parts, it's starting to look more like a hinge. So we're just gonna make it a brass. Let's say satin finish for the part, and we're all done. So that's the hinge mate, the path mate, and the slot mate. Next time we're gonna go and do the screw mate and the cam mate, which are the pretty basic, the last of the basic mates that you need to understand. So once those two are done, we're just gonna go back a little bit to part design. So I can show you sheet metal design and weldments. So doing that, we're gonna start making some projects, and along the way, I'm gonna show you some rendering and simulation and stuff like that, and maybe some motion simulation and more exciting stuff. I've already got some ideas in my head to see what we can do and how we can use SolidWorks and SolidWorks simulation to show you what we want, and some gadgets that you can use around your place to just to have some fun if you're bored and you want a little project to do. So I really hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like, comment, or subscribe. I upload videos every week. I try to do it 3 times a week, and if you have any suggestions or want some of the models I've drawn here, just make a comment in the YouTube comments or Twitch and let me know if you need some other information. Once again, I thank you for your time and hope to see you next time. Goodbye.